Okay, so after a break to get some water, to finish off a Coke that I had earlier, a cola, not cocaine, and to get a little bit of a pizza break, it's time to continue, and we left off very starting to talk about Season 5. I just thought there was something weird in the computer. Turns out there wasn't. Just a trick in my eyes. But I didn't want to keep recording in case something happened, because that had happened to me before. As I was starting to say, like how Season 2 feels like a direct improvement of Season 1 in every way, Season 5 feels like that to Season 4, and to me, also feels like kind of a mirror to Season 3. Where Season 3 is a season where I think the opening is absolutely phenomenal. The build-up to the climax is alright, but definitely has its problems, but the climax is so fucking good. I think Season 5 has an okay opening. Triumph is my least favorite of the 9. I don't dislike it, I really don't. But anytime I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, this one's okay. And while watching it, I'm like, yeah, I like this one. It's just, it's not, I don't love it. And it's just not hitting me as hard. And I can say something similar about For Every Life in Season 8. It grew on me, and it grew on me a lot. And even when I didn't super care for that one, whenever it gets to that point, I just go, some roses. Like, that part always hyped me up. I don't really have a moment like that in Triumph, unfortunately. I think the climax is super messy. Like, you have all these characters together. You got Team RWBY, Juniper, and Crow against Cinder, Mercury, Emerald, Hazel, Leonardo, Ozpin, and Raven, and Vernal. All together, and I'm expecting chaos. There's like a lot of group fights, tag teams, cool fun shit happening, and it just kinda doesn't, for the most part. I'll get to a little bit of that later. But the build-up of the season, to me, is where it really shines, and that's why it's such an improvement over Season 4. Oh, I didn't really say much about the climax of Season 4. Yeah, Team Ranger fights a giant centaur dude, and it gives a lot of catharsis for Nora and Ren. And it's okay. Like, I think it's pretty cool. It's not my favorite climax. It's not my favorite Grim. But it's pretty cool, I guess. Season 5. RWBY gets to actually emote and be vulnerable. And I think it's really good, and I think it's kind of sorely needed after her trying to actively not do that in Season 4, or the writers just forgetting to have her do that in Season 4. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not sure. There's a scene with Oscar where he talks to her about that, like, how are you able to stay sane? She's like, it's hard, but I do what I gotta do. Like, I gotta do the best I can, and I do like it. The scene where she reunites with Yang and Weiss, particularly Yang, I've mentioned before, I did tear up. Just the two sisters hugging after not seeing each other for so long. It's like, when she sees the two of them, and she just drops what she's holding, she can't say anything, and Yang just is like, I'm hugging my fucking sister and no one's gonna stop me. I'm like, yeah, that got me. That got me. That's fucking beautiful. And then Weiss just watching, like, I'm gonna let the siblings hug. They gotta do this. And Yang, nah, get over here. Get in this. You're part of the family too. Hugging it out. It's sweet. It's beautiful. Weiss just feels less dumb in this season. It's in Season 4, I get why she has the stances that she does, and I appreciate the backbone it takes to have them. But the fact that she does it with no regard for obvious consequences bothers me. Here, that just didn't feel like an issue. It seemed like, no, I understand the consequences of leaving, so I'm going to do it. The scene where she escapes from the bandits along with Yang, and afterwards just hugs her, I think is really sweet. I think I mentioned this before. The scene where Yang is very clearly pissed at Blake, and I'm with her, I'm pissed at Blake too. And Weiss goes after her and doesn't say anything. She just lets Yang talk, and then when Yang is done, then Weiss says her piece. I love that. I love the emotional maturity it takes for Weiss to not only say, I'm gonna go after my friend and make sure she's okay, but to just listen for a while. That's super important. That is an incredibly important tool to have just in relationships in general. I love talking very clearly. This is the third video, and the first two were each like an hour and 20 minutes long. But I do love to listen to other people as well. I liked that scene a lot. Also, she gets to do some cool summoning shit. But I feel like this season also teaches her why over-relying on it is a problem, because during the fight with Vernal, she just can't get it off, and she's getting her ass kicked as a result. Which, I mean, it's also Weiss getting her ass kicked. Nothing. Same shit, different day, you know? Same, second verse, same as the first. Blake in Season 5 has the arc she should have had in Season 4, and like I said, that's why I hate Season 4 Blake so much. To me, it doesn't feel like, oh my goodness, Blake went through some character development or realizations, and it taught her, what I'm doing is wrong, I need to fix this. Jean in Season 1 at least kinda does. Here it feels like Sun's saying, Blake, you need to be more active and do something. No. But Blake, I have evidence of this. No. Oh shit, maybe you do. Oh shit, maybe I should have been doing this the entire time. Yeah, you should have. But I do like it in Season 5. I like her and Sun trying to do things. Like, her dad gives a speech. Maybe that's in Season 4, but I think it's in Season 5. Like, really denouncing the White Fang. And I feel like that's, or like, what the White Fang have been doing, and Adam specifically. I like that. I like them, excuse me, going to the people of Menagerie and saying, we need help in Haven. And if we do this, it looks a lot better for us as a people. I think that's interesting. I really like, I think I said this in one of the previous two videos, I love the relationship with Elia. It feels like Blake is going for redemption. Either let me redeem like, if I can save Elia from what she's doing, it doesn't quite make up for me not saving Adam, but at least I saved someone like him. And in a sense, Elia reminds me of myself. Someone who believed in the cause, but not in the methods. And if I can save her, it kind of confirms that I was worth saving in the first place. That's how I see it. And I honestly find that really interesting and super compelling. And the fight they have when Elia's like going invisible and using her camouflage in the dark and shit, I think that's a really creative idea. I think it's fun. And like some shit, was it Kortzik or Fennec? I don't remember which one. But one of the Fox dudes just getting fucking smashed like a Looney Tune character. I liked that. I thought that was pretty neat. Yang isn't necessarily improved between seasons. It's just continuing with it. She decides to go, like, get on the horse, or I guess for her it's her bike, go find RWBY. You can tell she's still not okay with fighting. Her hand, like, even just after dealing with Joe Dirt and punching him, her hand is visibly shaking afterwards, and she has to still it, like, okay, it's okay, we're fine. And it doesn't happen a whole lot, but it happens enough in this season. Like, I appreciate continuing her character here, and that she's not just fine. I like her interactions with Raven a lot. Of this mother-daughter that don't have a mother-daughter relationship. And both sides want it, but also both sides kind of have their own shit that they're busy doing. I think it's super interesting. Crow I actually like in this season, which feels weird to say, but I will say it. I will appreciate it and take it when I can. The scene of him looking for the other huntsman and being unable to, and like paying off the debt of his dead friend, and realizing that another dead friend like died and left kids behind and shit, and like how it affects him, I think is a very strong scene. Let's see. I'm deliberately not talking about Raven yet. I'm saving her for a little bit. The villains in this season, we get little bits of Dr. Watts. And the little bits we get, like, I'm kind of enjoying him. we get a lot of Cinder. We get a lot of Cinder being petty, being super, like, just passive-aggressive, and it's awesome. Oscar's not improved. He doesn't really do anything. I don't have anything to say about Hazel until the climax, because I am trying to just save the climax on its own. I'm just trying to do all the build-up shit that I really like. I think that's pretty much it without talking about Raven. So let's talk about Raven. Raven is in contention for being my favorite character in the show. And that's not just because I'm super thirsty for her. Although that helps. I think Raven is fine. I think she is fine as hell. I think she is bad as hell. What I love about Raven, I like, for the most part, because there's some parts about her I don't really care for, but I like that social Darwinist aspect of, I believe in strength above all else, and how I define strength is survival. It's like the movie Heat. I don't remember the exact line, but it's like, you have to make sure that at any point in your life, you can walk away within 30 seconds. Or, again, whatever the exact time limit is. And that's who Raven is. I was able to walk away from Ty. I was able to walk away from my brother Crow. I can walk away from Oz. I walked away from you. I am strong enough to cut ties at a moment's notice if I keep living. Because surviving is the most important thing to me. The fact that, like the reason I'm the Spring Maiden is because the last Maiden wasn't strong enough. There's no way she would have been able to survive. And I knew that Salem would be after her, and she would not be able to take care of herself. So I took it upon myself to have that power, because someone had to keep it safe, and I was strong enough to do so. I also knew there would be problems. So this isn't me being strong enough. This is me being smart enough to handle issues. I essentially declared someone else to be the Spring Maiden, and anytime the powers are being used, I wear my mask. So that way, no one sees the fucking magic leaking out of my eyes, and I can take care of business, and no one is any wiser for it. And it works throughout the season. And I think that's really smart. And I like that. That's smart. I guess, like, that's also survival. I am taking the target off of my back in case I need to. I have a very, very powerful trump card that no one knows I have because they think someone else has it. I mean, I like her weapon. It's just a red sword, but it looks nice. I love her power. I love her semblance. I can create portals that teleport me to certain people. I don't know exactly how it works, if it's just like, if she has only a certain number of people she can go to. If clearly there's not some kind of contract that needs to be made, because I don't think she ever did that with Yang, unless she did when Yang was like a little baby. If it's just, I think of someone I could teleport to them, or if it has to be someone that she cares about. But they say there's at least 3. There's Ty, there's Crow, and there's Yang. Because as much shit as she spouts about, I am a survivor, and I am strong, and I could cut people out of my life at a moment's notice, she can't. It's the sense of, like, she always gives herself an out in any situation, including relationships. She always makes sure she can go back to Ty. And at the end of season 5, you see a little bit of Ty and the Raven flying around. With the implication that, yeah, she's like, hubby, our kid's mad at me. Can I crash here for a while? There's the fact that even though she left Oz and is not doing any of that shit, she can always go see her brother. And even though she abandoned her kid and is like, you need to be strong, I will not come to save you again, she always has a way to go see her kid, make sure her kid is okay, and like, I need to save her now. And she did. I talk a lot in season 7 about the hypocrisy of Team RWBY and how it bothers me immensely. And yet here I feel like I've just kind of called Raven a hypocrite. But her hypocrisy doesn't bother me. To me, it makes her more interesting. And again, kind of like I was saying earlier, it's that protagonist-centered morality. In Season 7, it feels less of Team RWBYers doing something really hypocritical. Maybe they're in the right, maybe they're in the wrong. No, it's written as in they're in the right, you should never doubt it. With Raven, I feel like, no. It's kind of up to you if you want to decide, is Raven a good person or not? There's arguments for and against in the show itself. And it feels like most of the arguments are like, no, she's a fucking awful person. But I feel like there's enough there, and I do find her genuinely interesting and genuinely really cool. So let's talk about that climax, the good and the bad. Everyone gets gathered together because Leonardo has betrayed Oz the Great and Powerful and is trying to turn them all into Salem. Raven and Cinder are now working together because Cinder's like, cool, I want your maiden and, I want her power, but I'm not going to tell you that to your face, but it's pretty fucking obvious what I want with her. On the other side of that, Raven's like, cool, I just want to get the relic and go, and if I can kill you and take care of you, great. And I'm going to use my brother as bait. And I think you can make a genuine argument how genuine Raven was about that or not. Was it, I'm going to use my brother as bait, but I know he can take care of himself. I think he's going to be fine, so I don't care. Or is it my brother is trying to sell me out and was planning on, attacking my fucking camp and taking my maiden from me, not knowing it was me. You know what? Fuck him. I genuinely don't care if he makes it out of this or not. I don't know. And part of the reason I don't know is with the way this climax is staged, we don't see them interact for very much. There's a little bit at the start, and you're like, oh, cool, Crow and Raven are fighting. And you don't see, any of it. Raven is fighting, or not Raven, RWBY is fighting Emerald. Not Cinder. The thing that was shown in Season 2 and 3 in their opening. The thing that feels like it's been built up. The fact that Raven, or not Raven, I keep saying Raven instead of Cinder. The fact that Cinder in Season 4 and in Season 5 has made it abundantly clear, I want to kill Ruby Rose because of what those silver eyes did to my body and shit. Yeah, they don't fight. Instead, she fights Jean, which I get from Jean's perspective of, you murdered one of my best friends and the woman I loved. I'm gonna have your fucking head. And I love Cinder's reaction, just, who are you again? I know, after Endgame, you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. She literally hits Jean with the Thanos, and it's kind of amazing. One thing I really love about the fight is it doesn't get going until Jean gets going. It's about to happen, but so everyone kind of talking shit, and then as soon as Jean is ready to throw hands, everyone is ready to throw hands. But you don't, Yang gets to fight Mercury, for real this time, no bullshit, and you don't really see it. Weiss is fighting Vernal because they're kind of the only two left, and it's mostly Weiss jumping around, trying to summon, and not being able to, and jobbing because classic Weiss. RWBY is fighting Emerald because, well, I guess Cinder's taken, and Emerald's just giving illusions, and it's not really that good, or that cool. Oz, as Oscar, is fighting Leo, and at one point he just he's Oscar, and then he goes into Ozbin. At one point he just bonks Leo on the head, who tumbles down the stairs, and it's the funniest fucking thing in the entire show. I laughed really, really hard at the fucking concussion bonk. Crow and Raven, you don't see it, and that sucks. Jean gets his ass kicked by Cinder. And a part I love. And then Crow and Nora, or not Crow, Ren and Nora, I forgot they were here because they don't do much in Season 5. They're fighting Hazel, who's big Unga Bunga man that uses dust the way that Bane uses venom. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's pretty fucking fun. I think it's kind of cool. Is it the most interesting shit? No, he's just making himself unga bunga. But I like the dude. In Season 4, he doesn't really do anything. In Season 5, he's like, look, I don't like seeing people get hurt. I don't like seeing people die. But I have beef with Oz. My sister went to his academy. My sister died. The fact that that son of a bitch does not take care of the children under him is awful. Look, even here and now, you have your children doing your dirty work, and you are hiding in a child's body. Fuck you, Oz. I like this dude. They're fighting, he's fighting Nora and Ren. The scene I love, especially with what they do with it here in Season 6, is Jean talking to Cinder and saying, my life doesn't matter, my friends matter. I don't care if you kill me, what I care about is buying them time. And Cinder going, huh, no shit. Tell you what, Jay. Tell you what, Mr. Dark. Just because you said that and how much you love your friends, I'm gonna do you a solid. A 2-for-1 special, where the one of me is gonna kill 2 of your friends. I already took 1 from you. Let's see who we could get. Eeny, meeny, miny, Weiss. Fucking makes a fire spear and impales Weiss with it. Because again, of course it's Weiss. So at that point, the fights just kind of stop and then start again. And again, it doesn't work super well. It's very messy and very chaotic. And not in the really fun way. Jean is healing Weiss because he now figured out what his Sembi does. He can enhance aura, including aura's regular healing. Nora and Ren, I don't remember. I think there's... Because also, Oz is officially out and Hazel goes bananas. Cinder, I think, at that point goes into the vault, which means Raven and Vernal go into the vault with her. And then Yang goes in after them. And then also we have to fight Emerald and Mercury, and that's it. So the part up top, it's kind of okay. Like, I do like the group fighting Hazel as he's getting bigger and stronger. It's pretty fun. It's just not amazing. Excuse me. Outside, Adam has shown up with the White Fang. But then Blake and Sun and all the people from the menagerie show up and are like, hey, asshole, we called the cops. And then the cops show up and are like, Adam, you're under arrest. And he goes, nuh-uh, and he runs off. And, like, that's it. There's no fight with Adam at the end of Season 5. There is nothing... Like, Blake shows up with all these people and with Sun and essentially tells Adam, you mean nothing to me. You have no power over me anymore. And you know what? Good for her. And again, that is not meant to be condescending at all. That's fucking awesome. Just, that is really satisfying to hear. But you know what else is satisfying? Dealing with him and not just letting him run. I get what Blake is saying, like, if we chased him, he could start picking us off. And, like, there's a smart way to do this. But this is something of, like, I'm not going to criticize the character for the decision. I'm criticizing the writers for the decision. This is when you deal with Adam. He does nothing. He's killed in Season 6. He does nothing in Season 6. Except he shows up at the very end of the season just to be like, hi, guys, I'm also in the story, and now it's time for y'all to deal with me. Isn't that be a fantastic way of getting Blake... I get it. Yang has to do shit with her mom here. But her and Blake reuniting for this, or just all of Team RWBY afterwards reuniting to fight Adam, it doesn't... No, because I do like it being Yang and Blake, because both of them have separate beef with Adam. Although it is kind of similar. RWBY and Weiss don't need to be there. But at the same time, I like the idea of them being there. It's like, the whole team, and, supporting your teammates and shit. I just feel like that is such a good way of reuniting Yang and Blake. If you want to keep it romantic, fine. If you don't want to make it romantic, that's fine too. Of taking this dude out now. I just feel like it feels too late. And it's like, sure, is that adding even more shit to this climax? Yes. But most of the climax isn't good. And the fact that you have like, okay, it's time to deal with Adam and the White Fang. No, we're not. We're not even fighting him. Is such a fucking letdown. So let's talk about what happens in the vault, because this is the good part of the climax. Okay, Cinder being a petty bitch. That's a great part in the climax. She is just the best part of it. What do you know? She betrays Raven. She betrays Vernal. And Raven goes, yeah, well, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. And because it was inevitable, I fucking planned for it. I'm the Spring Maiden, bitch. And then you get a maiden fight. The two of them flying around, using their weapons, using elements. Cinder trying to take Raven's soul, and Raven going, nuh-uh. And her flying because she's a bird and shit. And then Raven using Suna's X-Burner from Got the Kill Hitman Reborn to start flying. I'm like, this fight's fun. This fight's really, really fun. I've said that the red trailer is one of my two favorite fights. I've said that Raven Cinder's the other one. It's great. And at the end of the fight, Cinder is frozen, and she falls into the abyss. And, you know, there's no real consequence to that. She's fine. It's not that she's dead. It's not that she's written out of the show for a few seasons so she can unthaw, or part of the ice breaks and, like, she loses a leg or something. No, she's completely fine. In the next season, she's like, well, shit, my boss is mad at me. I kind of need to do shit before I go see her again, which is fine, but wow, there's almost no consequence to Cinder getting her ass beat. Well, then Raven gets the relic, and Yang's like, hey, give me that so you don't have to deal with it and have Salem deal with you. And Raven's like, oh, shit, you right. I'm gonna go to my husband. Bye. And then that's season 5. Oh, yeah, and then Team RWBY gets reunited finally at the end, and it seems that Blake and Yang are okay, which is fine, but then they're not in season 6. Like, but so why did you make it seem like they were okay? I'm so confused. I don't know if that's a problem with season 5 or a problem with season 6, but I do think it's an S tier season. I really do, because I can make an argument that it's my favorite. The climax, as messy as it is, has one of the best fights in the entire series. Deadass. I don't think the opening is great, but it's not terrible. But the build-up to the season, right after watching season 4, which I hated, and I hated almost everything they did with the characters, seeing them do exactly what I wanted the characters to do in season 4 was really satisfying. Like, the more I think of season 4, I'm like, I feel like I hate it as much as an F tier season, but Yang is so strong in that season. She's the only thing that saves it from an F tier season. It feels like a waste of time. Again, with how much, like, Blake in season 5, this is what she should have been doing here. Ruby's emotions here, really should have been having them in there. Juniper, they're fine here. Weiss, the build-up is great. The character shit is great. I don't know if it's necessarily the final fight, but the one big centerpiece fight is... The rest of the season's... But the rest of it is so good, I can put it here. Season 6. Again, we're putting it here for now, but it's going around here-ish. Season 6 is my least favorite season. I believe I've said that before. If not, I want to make it emphatically clear. Season 6, to me, is the worst season of RWBY. It maybe has the best opening. I love Rising. The song is great. Like, the lyrics, I think it's catchy as hell. I think the visuals are great. That bit at the end is Ruby's running on the train, and it's the glyphs, and then she jumps from glyph to glyph, and they're off the train, and Weiss is supporting her, and Ruby's giving that look like, I've been through the fucking ringer, and I'm not okay, but I gotta keep fighting. I'm like, That's great shit. It's so good. Season 6, despite being the worst season, is one of the best episodes in the entire show. And that is the Ozpin Salem backstory. It is the relationship. It is all the shit with the brothers. It is all of this lore. And I'm like, this is so interesting. This took Ozpin from being a character I did not care about, even though the show felt like it was really trying to make me. Although he has some kind of moments in like season 5 where I was like, I'm kind of vibing with him, but overall just, no, he's fine. Oh, I get it now. Oh, this dude is fascinating. And then you have Salem, who is just the evil villain witch monster. I'm like, I kind of like her. And the weird way she treats her subordinates, it's interesting. It's unhealthy, but it's interesting. Then you get the backstory of like, you are one of the more interesting characters in the entire show. Excuse me, like, also, you're immortal. That's a fucking problem. But it's fascinating shit. So why don't I like the season? First half, second half. The first half, I think, is fine, but has problems. The train fight is really cool. The music is really cool. But there's also this whole thing of, hey, we have to take the gun... excuse me, deactivate the guns. Why? Because they're drawing the Grimm to the front of the car. And that's where the passengers are. Okay, you know what? That's actually kind of a fair argument. Assuming that y'all are actually taking care of the Grimm in the back of the train, and from what I remember, they actually are. It's like, no, the Grimm are already coming to the train, but you're drawing them closer to the passengers. You need to stop that. Fair enough. But then it becomes clear, like, after this, it's like, oh no, like, no, because it's something Oz just tells them afterward. Be like, oh no, like, they were drawn to that passenger car because of the relic. It's not because of the guns on top of the car. It is dead ass because of us. Oh. Well, now we just look like assholes. Because after they find out, they're just... I don't know. Like, it's not the worst thing, but they don't look particularly great after it. What makes them look awful to me is the way they treat Oz, particularly Oscar. How people just, like... Crow punches him. Jean, I think, like, punches him or, like, drags him across the room. They're like, hey, dude, like, that's Ozpin in there, but that's Oscar's body, so, like, that's kind of fucked up. Crow, who back in season 3 wouldn't so much as tolerate a discouraging word about Ozpin, is now like, you're the worst thing to ever fucking happen to me in my entire life. And I'm like, I get it to an extent. You've dedicated your whole life to the great and powerful wizard, and you found out he was keeping shit from you. I understand that would probably really fucking suck. Crow just feels... I mean, I don't like him anyways. I'm like, it feels like he went from 0 to 100 way too quick. So I just didn't like him here. I don't really know what I thought of Maria. She's a RWBY comic relief character, which means sometimes she can be funny, sometimes she can be annoying, sometimes she's both. Her acting is kind of a mentor to RWBY with the silver eyes in, though, I thought was really cool. That's early season and that's kind of throughout the season. But I didn't really love her character. The members of Team RWBY in the first half are underused. RWBY is kind of doing what she was doing in season 4 of like, I'm the leader, I have to keep it together. It's done better though, especially when you get to the apathy, which I fucking love the idea of the apathy. It is this Grimm that takes your wants and your desires and just takes that away till you're just tired, you don't want to do anything, you don't even want to fucking get up anymore, and that's how it gets you. I think that's really neat. And everyone's saying, look, Salem's literally immortal. Why are we doing this? Why don't we just dump the relic? And RWBY being the only one who can fucking resist it. I don't remember if Maria could. I don't know if that was a Silver Eye thing, or if that was just Ruby's personality kind of gave her some resistance to it. I could genuinely buy either of those. But what I hate about it is the other three, I can buy them having issues with it. Weiss saying, I don't want to go home to Atlas. I don't want to see my dad again. I don't want to see my brother again. And I'd be down to see my sister. I don't want to see my mom, who, by the way, wasn't fucking in season 4. Like, you're only here because of her. It's the only reason. Like, just, yeah, the fact that Weiss is trapped in her house for, like, all of season 4, and we don't see her mom. When we met her mom in season 7, I was like, deadass, I thought you were dead. Actually, kind of funny. I've been watching Hilda season 3 over the last couple of days, and I'm going to watch the last episode tomorrow. There's a scene when they meet Hilda's dad. I mean, sorry, spoilers. There's an episode where her dad is finally introduced, and David and Frida are like, oh, dad asked, like, I just assumed you were dead. Like, I thought it was an illness. I thought it was an accident. Like, yeah, sorry, dad. Like, your whereabouts never came up. Like, I thought that was funny. But I deadass thought Weiss's mom was dead because she's not in season 4, and then, no, she's fine. Season 4 just sucks. Anyways, because Weiss does say something along the lines of, I really don't want to go home. And I buy that. And if they had focused on that, like her apprehension of returning to Atlas, I think that would have been really interesting, especially with how things ended with her dad and her brother. They don't. It's kind of there with the apathy, but it's presented as it's because of the apathy, not because that's how Weiss actually feels. With Blake and Yang, it's kind of the same shit of, yeah, we don't really want to do this anymore because blah, 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 and then, no, it's just because of the apathy, even though that would have been really fucking I wanted at least one of the three to say, no, I meant that. RWBY, I want you to convince me that we should do this. That would have been super interesting to me, and it just doesn't happen. With Blake and Yang, there's this moment in the first episode when they're on the train. I think Blake is trying to help Yang with her luggage, and Yang's like, all right, look, I'm going to give it to you straight. You and I I'm not super okay right now with you. We're going to be. We will be. Don't get me wrong. You're still my friend. I'm not, like, actively pissed off at you. But I'm still not okay with what happened or how it went down. The fact that you're back, I'm gonna be fine. But I need some space. And if you are trying to do things to make it okay, it's just gonna make me more aware that there's a problem to begin with. So please keep that in mind. Blake's like, okay, I get it. I like that. I like that vibe and that kind of weird contentious bit of the relationship. The problem is, again, it's really underused and half-baked. There's like that scene at the start. There's a very quick kind of moment with the apathy, which again feels more like it's the apathy. It's fucking with us and blah, blah, blah. And that's it. They don't talk about it and really get it fixed. In a sense, they get it fixed because they fight and kill Adam together. Which, yes and no. It's like that. Blake didn't need that. Yang did. Yang needed to kill him, or she needed to beat him. Killing him is an efficient way of doing it. But Yang needed to defeat him to finish getting over the PTSD. She's like, okay, in season 4, I need to get on the horse. Season 5, I don't know if I said the S. So like, I need to get on the horse. I need to get on the horse. Season 5, I need to get over my fear of fighting. Season 6, I need to get over my fear of Adam. Which, granted, if it had been at the end of season 5, 2 birds with 1 stone. But Yang needs to beat Adam specifically. I feel like Blake at the end of season 5, when she tells him, you don't mean anything to me anymore, just go on, shoo, get out of here. That is Blake beating Adam. That is her overcoming her Adam problem. Yeah, he comes back. It's like, all right, I have to deal with this. But I feel like in terms of the emotions, Blake got over it and is okay. It's Yang that doesn't. I guess you can make an argument that that's sort of the point of them doing it together, is this is Blake coming to save her and helping her overcome it, but it isn't, because it's Yang has to go in and save Blake from Adam, which is exactly what happened in the first place, not the other way around. So it's not the... I feel like Blake running away isn't necessarily redeemed by what they did to beat Adam at the end of the season. And it's not like the two ever really sit down and talk about it before, during, or after. It's just kind of, we'll be okay eventually, just don't talk to me about it. Never talks about it, okay, I'm fine. Which, I mean, saying it out loud, like, it makes sense. It's just not that satisfying to me. Because say what you will about RWBY writing, I have for different characters in different seasons, but I do like it. I want to hear these characters talk about what they're thinking and what they're feeling. Because believe it or not, sometimes it's really interesting. Season 4 Yang. Season 2 Blake. Season 5 pretty much anybody. Season 9 RWBY. So them just not doing it in Season 6 feels so underutilized. Like, you have these genuinely good characters. When you know how to use them, make sure you use them, because otherwise you get a Season 4. The second half of the season. Also, that's another thing, though. Before I get to the second half of the season, you have Oz, his backstory getting revealed. They start kind of yelling at him, and then he leaves. So we don't even really deal with the fact that, like, yeah, his deepest, darkest secrets are now out, and he's super vulnerable and heartbroken, and everyone's treating him like shit. He just kind of leaves after that. You're like, alright, I guess we're not going to do anything with this. And what does Oscar do or amount to? Yeah, not much. He just doesn't. And then Crow just spends the entire volume drunk, because I get it, he's not in a good place, and he needs to cope. It doesn't exactly make him that much more likable to me, though. Then you get the second half of the season. Because the first half of the season, I don't like, but I don't hate. It was like, I wanted to see it get capitalized on and be a great season. The second half of Season 6 is why it's F tier. It's why it's bad. Not only does it not really follow up on Weiss not wanting to go home and her fears and all that shit, not only does it not really follow up on Blake and Yang's issues, because I don't feel like the Adam fight is them dealing with their issues as friends. Again, whether you're trying to see it through the romantic lens or not, which, again, clearly ends up happening, this is their relationship as teammates rather than, oh shit, we need to kill Adam. Like, I don't think killing Adam does that. It helps Yang get, like, out of her own way in terms of fighting. I don't think it necessarily... I guess in a sense of they were able to come together and not fight, which, I mean, they kind of done earlier in the season anyways. I think I just wanted them to talk. That's really it. And they didn't. And that's why I'm disappointed. And also, again, I feel like this was kind of the season to deal with Adam, because it's when he was, like, a huge threat. Here, he's just not, so it feels unsatisfying. Blake already took care of her issues with him. But the second half is when Team RWBY's like, okay, we gotta go to Atlas. Well, there's a blockade and an embargo. We can't. Oh. Well, let's just go talk to the military, get it figured out. And then the military says, no, there's an embargo. You can't. Good day. Oh, shit. That was our one plan. Even though we knew that there was a fucking blockade and an embargo and shit, we still, like... What pisses me off about it is they knew the exact situation and didn't have a plan. It was just that we asked really nicely and they said no. And then they said Weiss can come. because we know who she is, and her family is here, and her family is influential, and they want their kid back. So instead of maneuvering that, or leveraging that, excuse me, and having Weiss go with Crow, an actual huntsman, who can get an audience with Ironwood, or Weiss going and saying, I really want to talk to the general. You know, I can put in a good word for you if I get sent straight to the general, or to my sister, and saying, I do want to go, I need to go see my sister. Which I feel like, because even Cordova, or whatever her name was like, I want you to put in a good word for me with the general because of how, like, hospitable I have been to you. Did I say the P? Hospitable? I think I said hostilable. That was weird. How hospitable I have been to you. She would want Weiss to have an audience with the general. And if she goes and talks to Ironwood and is like, okay, general, here's the thing. Crow is over there. He's trying to get in. The rest of my team are getting in. Hey, you know how you gave, like, Yang an arm? So clearly you like us and want to reach out to us to help out. We're over there. We need to get here now. Or talking to Winter and telling her that. And telling them, we have a fucking relic. This is important. They don't use the out there given with Weiss. And they don't even try to contact Winter? There's maybe an argument to be made that after the comms network went down, Argus and Atlas can't contact each other. But that also just makes me think, really? Why not? Now, like, Vale and Atlas, like, oh yeah, that's really fucking far away. Like, I can understand that, but Argus and Atlas aren't that far, are they? Because if not, why can't you just communicate with them? Like, it's stupid. I mean, you're kind of in a rush, but not really. You can't just send Ironwood, like, a letter or something. I don't know, Crow's a fucking bird. He could almost literally hand deliver it. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how far the actual transport is. They go by airship, but, like, airship is faster than Crow travel, for sure, but that's also because they have to transport multiple people. And it looked like it was made within the day. Crow could maybe theoretically do that. Again, maybe he can't. My problem is it's not discussed. They're not like, Crow, could you make that trip and go see Ironwood, tell him what we need so that he can go get us or send Winter to get us? Or say, Weiss, can you try to leverage something out of, like, the woman working the door and get a message to your sister or get a message to Ironwood? Okay, that's not going to work. Weiss, can you just go and talk to him in person then? The thing they say that RWBY says is, no, we're not going to split up again. You know, even though earlier in the season they split up from Team Juniper because, like, hey, it's imperative to the plan that we split up, but we trust that we'll see each other again. It's okay with the Juniper trio, but you can't do it with Weiss. And I get it, because Season 4 happened. It's like, I've been without my team, and I don't want to do that again. But also, you would expect that if literally in the same season you were able to get separated from your friends, you can be separated from your friend for, like, 2 days. Because it's part of the plan. She is not, and it's not even like, man, this is too dangerous for you to do alone. You're literally going on, like, a passenger ship. I mean, it's a military ship, but, like, you're going on a ship, an airship, going home, talking to the general, talking to your sister, and with who we know Ironwood to be, he is going to do us a solid. This is safe. It's not even that time consuming, but Ruby's like, no, we're not gonna do it because I want my friends with me. So my plan of asking nicely didn't work, and the option they gave me I thought was dumb. So I said no. What should we do? And John goes, we can steal an airship from the military. That'll be doable and won't backfire on us at all. And Crow, who has been drunk out of his mind and super gloomy and unhelpful all season, is like, okay guys, I know I'm a drunk ass Debbie Downer. This is stupid. This is an awful idea. Even assuming, and that's a big if, but assuming if you can steal an airship, they can track it. Meaning, they can shoot it down, or they can just arrest us when we land. And I know Ironwood. He's a good man. But he's not gonna be happy that you stole an airship from his military. That's an insult to him. That's an insult to the military. We can be court-martialed. This is not, like, insane, but kind of cool. This is stupid. And RWBY says, no. You have been unhelpful all season, and you're not coming up with any ideas, and we've never needed an adult to bail us out, adult who bailed us out in season 4. We don't need any of this. And at that point in the season, I checked out of anything Ruby Rose did. And I'll be dead ass about it. The moment she said to Crow, we don't need adults helping us, and we never have before, we could do this our own way. I talked about it in the season 6 video. I'm not really going to go that far into detail, but I was like, hun, there's a list of all the times you did. And then during the fight with Cordova, she's like, people bigger than you have tried to stop us, and they failed. Hun, there's a list for that too, and a lot of it is similar. No. You do not have... That's the word I want. It's like, you don't have the receipts to talk all that shit. You can't back any of that up, RWBY. The one thing that they're proud of is we got the relic from Haven. No, Raven got the relic from Haven. She's the one who had the plan to get everyone there. She's the one with the plan to get the relic herself and deceive Cinder. She's the one who kicked Cinder's ass. That's all on Raven. That's, like, not at all on you or your friends. You were the ones that were getting duped by the Cowardly Lion. This is not a good look for them. Now there's some moments like RWBY using the lantern not to ask a question, but to use its time-stopping effect to stall and think of a plan is a really clever idea, and I like it. Them fighting the mech, like, it should be cool. And on paper it is, but I'm like, you're all idiots for this, so I don't care. And also, it's like, hey, this mech is for fighting Giant Grim. Which one of the characters, I want to say it was Jean, was like, hey, that's exactly what it's probably used for. And what do you know, a Giant Grim ends up showing up after they fuck up the mech. You know, things that are attracted to fear and panic. Which, because... I don't want to say Cordova, I think that was her name, is completely innocent. She certainly overreacted to this. At the same time, someone was stealing a fucking airship from the military and going into a place where they're not trying to have people go in. They're trying to keep it be as isolationist as possible because of the shit that happened to Beacon and the shit that happened in Haven. They have good reason for what they are doing. So, when you see someone... Like, the enemies have a habit of sneaking into places, and an airship is being stolen. I am going to do everything in my power to stop that from fucking happening. Believe it or not, they're the sympathetic ones here. And believe it or not, when y'all know that having the relic attracts Grim, and the fact that they're trying to stop us because they're suspecting us of terrorism, because we're stealing a fucking airship from the damn military, you would kind of expect some resistance, which maybe would cause fear and panic and mayhem and distress, which would lead to Grim, which are more likely to attack because of the relic that you have. So this is all your fault. Again, I wish the Adam fight was here, but I do really like the Adam fight. It was the only time in the series I actually started to empathize with him. Just when he's talking to Blake and he takes off his mask, I actually thought that was really good. The actual choreography of the fight is really cool. The part I love is when Blake is running through the forest and she's like fucking Spider-Manning from tree to tree as he's on her ass. That was really cool. I've seen a meme of, double penetration on the first date because they both stab Adam. And I was like, that's pretty funny. It's not enough to save it from F. And again, the fact that I think narratively it would I think it would be more satisfying in a previous season really doesn't save it from F. Rising doesn't save it from F. I didn't even talk about Cinder and Neo. Neo finally comes back and is like, I want to kill Cinder. Why? Because you got Roman killed. No, I didn't. RWBY got Roman killed. A random fucking Grimm got Roman killed. I had nothing to do with that. You're an idiot. And I'm just like, no, like, she's kind of right. Like, the whole fight they have is cool and it's fun. I'm like, I'm so glad to see Neo again. But like, no, that makes no sense. What makes sense to me is if Neo was seeking Cinder out to say, I know that you have beef with RWBY, and I have beef with RWBY, and I've been looking for you so I can join you so I can get my revenge. That makes total sense. But the fact is, like, I'm gonna kill you and get revenge. Why me? What? And, like, it's just endemic of how stupid Season 6 is. Like, even the cool shit that I really like is still dumb. Ugh. Ugh. Sorry, I had to drink some water. As much as I love the fairy tale backstory episode, it's not enough to save this from F. I will say, this is the lowest placement. It's at the bottom of the list. I actively hate it. But do I hate it enough for here? I don't think so. Now, I think I can make an argument of, do I honestly think they'll make anything worse than Season 6? I don't think so. I hope not. Excuse me, fuck. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I hate it. I think it's pretty fucking terrible. It's not the same level of vitriol I feel for something like the Genesect movie after I watched it, or Home on the Range, or Frozen 2, or Home, or How to Train Your Dragon 3. And yeah, the fact that DreamWorks and Disney have two bottom of the fucking barrels is not good. It's really bad. But I mean, the whole point of bottom of the fucking barrel is that there's not supposed to be two. But sometimes a project is so bad and something else is just as bad for different reasons that you kind of can't choose between them. As dog shit as Season 6 is, I don't think it's quite there. Then we get to Season 7. And Season 7 is fascinating to me. Because I don't like Team RWBY in this season. With maybe, and I mean maybe, the exception of Yang. I love everything else. Just love the opening. No, it's not Just Love, it's Trust Love. Excuse me. Trust Love is an opening that I fucking despise. And the reason I fucking despise it is because it's all about trust and everything. Which, no one in Team RWBY fucking does this season. And I hate it. It's like why there's parts of Time to Say Goodbye I don't like. It's like, I feel like you're supposed to make me be rooting for the cast here, even in the opening, and it just doesn't work. Here's why Trust Love might also be my favorite opening, even in addition to one like Season 6, because anytime the opening starts playing, I just start smiling. Whether it was during an episode or just like listening to it on a playlist, I just hear it and I start grinning. I think it's super catchy. I love how upbeat it is. I feel like it feels like a top 40 hit And I love it. It's great. And also it has Penny in it. And it has just this one part where she just looks at the camera and starts smiling. And I'm like, that's the sweetest shit. She's great. And it shows off the Aesops. I think the Aesops are fucking cool. And, is that also the one where you see Tyrion breakdancing, or is that season 8? I think it's season 7. And I'm like, fuck, I actually really like that visual. Like, that's just really fun. It's neat as fuck. Also, there's that one part, there's the part where, like, the characters start transitioning into their new designs. I think Blake doing it with her semblance is really cool. Yang, her design isn't that noticeable, just like a slight clothes change, it's kind of okay. Weiss, I don't really like her redesign. I don't like the way she wears her hair. I don't like the new dress. It's kind of whatever. RWBY doing it from her semblance and then, like, starts gliding towards the camera as the lyrics and the music, like, swells. I just think that's wonderful. I really fucking do. But Volume 7... short version, because this is probably, I don't know how long this episode has been already, or like this installment of the tier lists, and I've already talked about 2 volumes. I want to keep Volume 7 short, because I know I've said a lot about Volume 7 already in that review of it. I don't feel like Team RWBY and Team Orange, because that's what I call Juniper plus Oscar. Oh, I didn't talk about the fucking scene in season 6 with Team Juniper. Oh, okay, I have to go back to that because I said, like, the only good things in this season are the opening and the fairy tale Ozpin backstory. That's not, and the apathy, although I don't really love the way the apathy is used in the okay, there is some good parts in this. It's still an F tier season though. The fucking scene with Team Juniper at the Pyrrha Memorial, and Jean is talking to this older woman that looks like Pyrrha, which I assume to be her mom. Could maybe be an older sister, like her aunt or some shit. I'm assuming it's Pyrrha's mom. I fucking loved it. It was wonderful. And Nora and Ren being like, Jean, where the fuck were you? Oh. And then they see the statue, and they're all just kind of quiet for a second. It's like, hey, Jean, do you remember in season 5 when you fought Cinder, and you got your ass kicked, and you told her that your life didn't matter? Never say that again. Your life matters so much to the two of us, and it meant so much to her. You're not the only one who lost to Pyrrha, and we don't say that in any way to try and like minimize the impact she had on you or that her death had on you, but you are not the only one who lost her. Do not do anything to make us go through that loss again. Okay? It's dead-ass one of my favorite scenes in the show. It is not a scene that made me cry, but it always gets me super emotional, like when I think about it or even when I watched it. It got me close. I think it's a really, really good scene. I just hate almost everything else in the second half of the season. And the other best part of the second half of the season, I think, should have been here. But it is what it is. So let's talk about season 7. Ironwood. At times I call him Ironwood. At times I might call him the General or James or Jimbo. I feel like half the time I'm gonna call him the Tin Man. Because Tin Man has no heart. The Tin Man tells Team RWBY, A, guys, I'm so fucking glad you're here. Beacon was a shit show. I'm sorry about everything that happened. I'm sorry about the part I played in it. I'm glad you're all okay. I'm glad the relic is safe. I'm glad you guys are all up to date on the things that are happening. That means Oz trusted you and Crow trusts you, and that means I trust you, and I want you to help me with my plan. We got not 1, not 3, but 2 phases. Phase 1, finish this fucking tower, which is we're going to reestablish the communication between the world, because that's important, because we need to be united as a people. Then we get to phase 2, where we tell everybody about Salem. What? We're going to tell everybody. But you know what's going to happen, right? General, like, that's gonna cause panic and fear and everything. I know. That's why I have everyone back here in Atlas. So when the shit hits the fan, I can protect my people. The people of Atlas and the people of Mantle. Once I've done that, then I can go protect the rest of the world and have Atlas aid them. And I might be getting that slightly wrong because it might have just been, I want to tell the people of Atlas exclusively, then once we're set up, then I'm going to tell the rest of the world, and then we're going to go send the military. I don't 100% remember, but that's more or less it. I want the world to know so we're united against a common threat. Because you know what their weapon is? Their weapon is secrecy, their weapon is deceit, their weapon is subterfuge. And if we take that from them, they can't fucking beat us. You know how hard it is to beat humanity as a united front? We have a common enemy. We will make them our common enemy. Who's with me? And they're all like, fuck, that's kind of a good idea. So, after that, and then they talk about the relic and shit, and he's like, no, like, I want you guys to keep it. I want you guys to keep it safe. After all, you're the ones who were able to obtain it. I don't want to take it from you. You guys earned it. By the way, do you guys have anything you want to share with me? Do you have any info? Like, if you guys know it, like, I've told you all my shit. You're caught up as far as I'm concerned. Is there anything I need to be caught up on? Because I've been here in Atlas since what happened in Beacon. Is there anything else? And they don't tell him. They don't tell him what they learned from Oz's backstory about gathering the relics like Dragon Balls and the world getting destroyed. They don't tell him that Salem can't be destroyed. They're just like, nah, you're caught up, General James. Can I call you Jimbo? No. Well, Tin Man. You're caught up, bye. And that's it. Why? No, like, actually, why? What has Ironwood done at this point? Because you can argue about what he does at the end of the season, what he does in Season 8. What has he done at this point that they cannot trust him? He told the people he trusts most in Winter and Penny and the Aesops about this is the situation. He has a plan, and maybe it's not the best plan, but there is a plan that y'all are kind of agreeing to, and he's giving you back the relic. That is the ultimate sign of trust there. And the reaction is, nah, not gonna tell him. Because I don't trust him yet. Why not? And Yang is like, guys, why not? Weren't we talking with Oz about, like, no lies and half-truths? And by the way, Yang never told anybody, at least not on screen, about her mom being the Spring Maiden. So, yeah, lies and half-truths, huh, Yang? Like, it seems like you're keeping shit, too. Excuse me. But why? If we were so pissed at Oz for keeping the truth from us, why don't we tell him? They don't really answer that. And RWBY has a conversation with Crow like, hey, if I don't tell Ironwood the information we got about Oz, I'm keeping the same information from him that Oz was keeping from him and Oz was keeping from us. Does that make me just like Oz? Because I feel like it does. I feel like I'm being a fucking hypocrite and I'm making a terrible decision. And Crow tells her, no, because you're doing it because he hasn't earned your trust yet. And as soon as he earns your trust, you're gonna tell him. Oz never would have told anybody. He never trusted anybody enough. That's why you're different. And I remember deadass saying to myself, no, it's because she's the main character. She has no reason not to trust Ironwood. The only thing I can think of is Leo burned us. And because Leo burned us, I can't take anybody seriously. Like, I can't take anybody at face value anymore. Which, almost fair. I say almost because, A, they don't even talk about that. It's just, I don't trust him because undisclosed reasons. That's at least a valid reason. 2, again, the second he gives you back the relic, you can trust him. He's like, no, I have no desire to keep this. I don't need to keep this. I trust you with it. He is being so upfront and honest about his plans, about the people who know his plans. He gave you your shit back. He told you who the... Okay, he didn't really say much about the Winter Maiden. He's like, I have her. She's safe. Which, fair. It's like, why? Why can't you trust him? There's no reason for it. It is just because you should feel like a hypocrite. The only reason you don't is because you're the main character and we're supposed to agree with you. I guess because we as the audience are supposed to assume Ironwood's an ass, which doesn't happen until the end of this season and this season. And you know why it happens? Because you betrayed him. Because y'all didn't tell him this shit until way too late. And Blake was giving secrets to another faction. And all of y'all were telling him, James, you need to be honest with the other factions, even though we are not being honest with you. And I don't feel like they're actually written in a way where I'm supposed to be questioning them and going, no, maybe there is a problem here. Like, they're trying to make it interesting and morally gray, the way something like Death Note is. Like, I can easily see someone reading Death Note and going, Light is 100% correct and I'm rooting for him to win. I can also see someone reading Death Note and going, Light's a fucking piece of shit and I can't wait for him to get his comeuppance. I feel like those are entirely valid based on how Death Note is written. Season 7 of RWBY feels like you are supposed to think Team RWBY is 100% in the right for giving information to Robin and keeping information from James. And none of them actually seem right to me. And I genuinely feel like if they tell Ironwood the truth at the start of Season 7, he goes, oh shit, oh fuck. Actually, hold on a second. Hold on. This is perfect. What do you mean it's perfect? We can't kill the final boss. We don't have to. Salem only gets what she wants if humanity... I think I said humanity. I don't think I said the H. If humanity is divided. That's why she does what she does and how she does it. What if we're not? What if we gather the relics together and we summon the brothers back, we summon the gods, and we tell everybody? If Salem gets all the relics and the gods come back, it won't matter if humanity is united. Don't you see? This is all the more reason for us to finish the tower and tell people the truth. So we are united against a common enemy. So either we get the relics, summon the brothers, and they see how united we are and they reward us, or Salem gets the relics, summons the brothers, and they see how united we are against her. Even though we couldn't stop her, we were together as a front. She doesn't win. Thank you for telling me. It has only reaffirmed my plan. The only reason they lie is because Ironwood wouldn't have gone off the deep end if they didn't. That is genuinely how I feel from how I see the situation and how I see his character. And the fact that it's not only like, man, the main characters had to do something really shitty to get the plot to work. It's, yeah, the main characters came across as so hypocritical. Not only because of how they reacted to Ozpin for keeping this exact information from them, but how they keep telling Ironwood, you just gotta be honest, Jimbo. You just gotta tell everybody things. Don't you know? Trust love. Open up your eyes. Like, oh my god, they're so insufferable in Season 7. So, like, this shit about, like, Nora and Ren becoming a thing, I'm like, sure, this is nice, but I don't like you in this season. The shit with, like, Yang and Blake, and Yang's like, damn, she look kind of cute now. Like, they want to go dancing and shit. I'm like, I actually would have liked to see that. See more of their relationship. But I'm also like, you guys are kind of assholes this season. And like, when they're fighting, like, I'm watching them at the end of the season fight the Aesops, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not rooting for Team RWBY. I'm really not. I don't think Ironwood's going too far, maybe, but at the same time, like, I'm not rooting for the protagonists because they've been so unlikable and insufferable all season. Crow. So his relationship with Clover, I fucking loved. I thought it would... Crow finding someone who, like, I'm bad luck. I'm edgy. I can't have anybody. Well, I'm good luck. So you're fine as long as you're with me. Worst case scenario, we cancel each other out and we're neutral. You know what that means? That means we could be friends. That's great! I actually really loved this. And Crow's being like, yo, I'm gonna sober up because me being drunk as fuck didn't help anybody. I'm trying to be a better person. Oh my goodness, this is really good. And like, Clover's such a good influence on, like, oh, I'm shipping them hard, actually. This is like the best romantic relationship in the show since Jean and Pyrrha. This is fucking great. Then, the order comes in from Ironwood after finding out, hey, my allies have been lying to me and leaking information to the other factions. Fuck them. Understandable, by the way. Of like, okay, the order has come in where I have to arrest you. I don't know the circumstances. I'm gonna do my... to my understanding for Clover was, I'm gonna do my job. I don't want to hurt you. Like, genuinely, you're my friend, and I feel like this is probably a misunderstanding, and it's something we can clear up by talking, but I do have to take you in, and we'll figure it out. And Crow saying, I kind of don't want to be taken in. This sounds like some bullshit. And you know what? Kind of fair on both sides. I will give both of them that, except for the fact that, no, Crow, you were completely complicit in all this hypocrisy, so fuck you too. Then, you get a three-way fight between Crow, Clover, and Tyrion, who they were able to capture and were going to take to prison. Crow teams up with Tyrion to fight Clover, and is shocked and devastated when Tyrion fucking kills Clover. Oh my god. It's so stupid of him to do that. It's so... And then he spends all of Season 8 being like, I'm gonna kill Ironwood. He's the reason Clover died. No, you're the reason Clover died. Because you teamed up with this... You teamed up with that! What's wrong with you? Like, Season 8... Like, I don't like Crow, but there's seasons where I like him. I like him in Season 5. I like him in most of Season 7. Season 8 is why I hate Crow. And I'm glad he's not in Season 9, so I didn't have to deal with his bullshit. I could not stand him in Season 8. Oh, it was awful. Oh, the villains are okay, I guess. I don't think Hazel does anything. Oh, okay, actually, I can't even say that. The villains are fucking awesome in Season 7. Watts is having the time of his life. Tyrion is having the time of his life. Just trolling Ironwood, trolling all of Atlas. Jacques Schnee is like, I'm gonna make Atlas great again and all that shit. And hacking the election and just being a piece of shit. And, like, he's great. I really enjoyed these characters. Got to meet Weiss's mom, who again I thought was dead when she wasn't really mentioned throughout the show and didn't show up in Season 4. Like, wait, she's alive? The fuck? Oh damn, she's fine as hell. Again, like, there's the mama tear. Like, the little bit of interaction with Weiss and her mom, as pissed off as I was at Weiss because, you know, everyone in this season sucked. Yang gets off of it at least somewhat for saying, I think this is stupid. Weiss gets out of it because I like seeing her interact with her family. I love seeing her interacting with Winter. I love seeing her interact with her mom. And her mom telling her, it's that moment of, oh, you came back? Did you come back to stay? No, I didn't. Thank goodness. Like, I'm so glad you got out when you did. Weiss, please make sure you look after your brother. Why? My brother fucking hates me. Of course he hates you. You left him here. You left him here alone with us. Don't do that again. You don't get a lot out of her, but what you get, I think, is really strong. As for, like, some of the other side characters, like, I don't remember a damn thing Jean did in this season except get a haircut that I think looks fucking terrible, and I guess he was starting to pick up moms, which, okay, that's something, I guess. Oscar is, like, developing rapport with Ironwood as, like, an advisor to him, and it's like, hey, General James, you should be telling people the truth. Also, I'm lying to you. Like, Oscar, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm almost liking you, but there's that season 6 stank that also infected season 7, and that season 7 stank is fucking hard to wash out. It's bad. Is there anyone else? I'm deliberately avoiding talking about Penny. I think that's pretty much it, because I don't think Cinder did anything in this season. Oh, no, yeah, that's not till the very end. So let's go ahead and talk about the shit I love in Season 7. It's everything else. I love Atlas. I love how this city looks. I love this fucking Kami's lookout ass floating metropolis and Mantle at the bottom. It is, like, here's Columbia and here's Rapture kind of thing. I think it's great. I love that. I love the look of it. I love the factions. You have Ironwood, the Tin Man himself. I believe in saving humanity. I'm willing to take some risks. I'm willing to risk Mantle if I can save humanity. You have Robin, who is only about Mantles. Like, I am willing to save the city, and I will do that by any means necessary. Then you have Schnee. I am willing to protect my company, and by my company, I mean myself, through any means necessary. And then you have Salem, and as her what's the word I want? As, like, her representative, I guess. You have Watts. I am willing to bring you down by any means necessary. And the interplay between these factions, and then I guess you have, like, the council, which, aside from Schnee when he gets on it, is kind of a neutral party. I find the interplay super interesting. I love that kind of politicking. It's why I love shit like Game of Thrones, or why I love Log. Seeing these different factions interacting. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I don't want you to get anything. But actually having to interact with each other is a ton of fun. Tyrion getting to be Tyrion is great. He doesn't get a lot of screen time, but he makes every fucking second count. Watts, as he's, like, hacking the election and is, like, fucking dancing. That's a ton of fun. The Schnee family interplay, the little bit we see, is really good and interesting. I don't think I remember a single fight. No, okay. They, like, fight some Grim in a mine. It's kind of okay. Again, I'm saving the Cinder thing. Was that it in terms of fights? Boy, I really don't remember many fights from Season 7. I think there's a Grim fight when they first get into Mantle, and it's okay. Let me talk about Penny and Winter real quick. And I'm gonna transition into Season 8. I guess here, let me go ahead and rank Season 7, and then I'm gonna talk about Penny and Winter, and then I'm gonna transition into Season 8, because I'm gonna keep talking about Penny and Winter, because they're the best parts of both of these seasons. Season 7. Everything that's not Team RWBY is right here. Everything that is Team RWBY is right here. I fucking hate them here. I think that's it. I think it's a B tier season. Because maybe it's more of a C. I don't know. I guess C feels like more of the middle ground. But I don't know. It's like, I love the other shit so much. I feel like I can give it a B. It's like everything else is just that good. But fuck, I hated the main characters. But I can't take away how good everything else was. I think I would give it a B. Now let's talk about Season 8. I actually don't really know where I'm going to put Season 8. So I really have to talk that one through. Penny and Winter. Penny went from a character I did not really care about in the first 3 seasons to genuinely being an S tier character and maybe my double S. Her enthusiasm and her energy is so infectious. I remember Blake described RWBY and like what she's like, oh, this is like what all my friends are. She described RWBY as the embodiment of purity. And I can maybe see that in the first 3 seasons, definitely not so much afterward. Penny is the embodiment of purity. She's just kind. She just wants to help people. And it's so infectious. And like the second, like her just fucking zipping around like she's Astro Boy is great. And then she sees RWBY and just salutations and just hugs her. I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. Pinocchio's great at this. I love her relationship with Winter. How the two of them are really close. They have a good dynamic. They're both Ironwood's closest understudies. There's a scene when they're at the dinner party that Schnee hosts. And Winter goes off on her dad and Ironwood's like, Winter? Not now. I need you to leave the room. And Winter's like, oh, okay. And she does, and Penny goes after her. And I don't remember exactly what Winter says. She says something to Penny about, like, I think, like, they're kind of talking about it, and she's like, Penny, you wouldn't understand. And Penny has that look on her face, like, she's genuinely hurt by that, like, yeah, I get it. I'm a robot. I don't feel. I wouldn't understand. And Winter's like, no, I know what I said. I didn't mean it like that. No, I get what you mean. No, Penny, I really didn't mean it like that. What I mean is, you wouldn't understand because you're not a part of this family. Not because you're not real or you don't feel. You are a real person. You do have real emotions. And thank God you are not part of this family. I'm so happy for you that you don't understand what this is. And I know I keep saying when I talk about these two characters a lot, I'm like, I love this, I love it because I do. What I love about it, it's not just like, oh, I said something insensitive, like, I'm mad and I'm emotional, I didn't mean it. It's interesting to me that it's like, no, I genuinely did not mean it like that. It shows that, A, Penny is incredibly sensitive about this, which, get it, very understandable. And Winter also has the maturity to understand, this is my friend, and I genuinely did not mean it in the way she thinks I did, and I want to clear that up. Because she does not deserve to feel like, she does not deserve to feel shitty, and she is such a wonderful person that I want to make sure she knows that we're good. And I see her how she deserves to be seen. Like a fucking person. Like a little sister to me. It's great. Then when it's time to go kill the Winter Maiden to take her powers. Because shit going on. They talk about it. And Winter's like, I don't want to do this. But I'm going to do it. And Penny's, I really don't think we should, Winter. This is pretty bad. You are killing somebody. Like, yes, Penny, you're not wrong. What I'm doing is really shitty. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not allowed to feel right now. I have to put this down and ignore my feelings and go with my thoughts and do what I'm told. And yes, of course, there's a dichotomy of the human is acting like a robot is acting like a human. But then there's a scene later where they kind of have that conversation. Penny's like, okay, I don't like that. Like, she kind of gives that look of, Winter, I thought you were better than this, but fine. They go into an elevator to go find the Winter Maiden. Winter's just saying to herself, I hope she doesn't suffer. I hope she doesn't feel any pain with what I do. Really? I thought you were just saying, like, it doesn't matter what you feel and that your feelings don't matter at all. No, Penny. I know what I said. That doesn't mean the feelings aren't important. These feelings of guilt and apprehension and fear, that's what makes us human. If I could just go in and kill her and not feel anything, I would not deserve that power. Arguably, I just fucking don't at all. It's so important that we feel and that we acknowledge what we feel, even if we have to ignore it in the end. And I find that really interesting. It does a very good job of setting up what Winter is going to be in Season 8, of someone who... It's the shit I love about Season 7, and the shit that at times I think Season 8 does well, is that focus on morality. Of what is the correct option to take in this situation? Because like, you can definitely have some arguments about it, and I find it super interesting. So yeah, they go to do the thing doesn't work, and Cinder shows up, and the two of them have to fight Cinder, and it's really fucking cool, actually. Penny ends up getting the Winter Maiden powers, and she fights off Cinder, and Cinder's like, fuck! I didn't get the... Oh, no! I lost! Fuck, it's making me laugh really hard again! Oh, my God! Fucking Mario Party Wario! And then fucking yeah, loud! I fucking broke myself again. Like, Mario Party memes. Oh, gosh. Oh, I need some water. Hold on a second. I need to yeah, loud. Oh. Okay. Fuck. So after Cinder goes, oh no, I lost. Neapolitan shows up with the relic. They're like, yeah, I got it from Team Orange. It was really fucking easy. And that's pretty much how Season 7 ends. And oh yeah, and the martial law from Ironwood. I'm not trying to like gloss over it, but Ironwood goes off the deep end. Not quite off the deep end. No, I'm putting the city under martial law. I am in charge. I am willing to let Mantle be destroyed if I can get the rest of the city out of here and save as many people as possible, because Salem is on her way and I need to make sure she doesn't get the relic. Which, again, the morality thing, I understand we have to keep this from Salem, because if Salem wins and we're not a united front, we lose. Also, you're leaving a lot of fucking people to die. I get why Team RWBY is against this plan. I also feel like, yeah, if it wasn't for how shitty you guys were all season, this probably wouldn't be happening. I feel like even with Salem coming, Ironwood would be more reasonable. Maybe he would still do this, but it would... I feel like you could at least talk to him about it, because now that he knows that you've been betraying his trust, he's not gonna fucking talk to you or listen to you. This is your own ding dang damn fault. Which leads us into Season 8, which, short version, I think I said short version for Season 7, I don't know how long I spent on it. After Season 8, I am going to take one last break and then do these 3 in Season 9. after season 7, Team RWBY fractures into 2 groups. There's the group led by Yang that says, RWBY, that was fucking stupid. We followed your lead and look what happened. I need to go protect the people. Because that is what's most important. We're huntsmen. What we want is second to making sure people are okay. I'm going. So Yang does that, Jean does that, and Ren does that. Oh yeah, Oscar's gone, and shit happened. I don't fucking care enough to talk about it. I'm sorry, I just don't. Season 8, the other half of the team, led by RWBY, is, hey, maybe we should actually finish the tower and get communication out, and see what else we can do, like, higher up to help people. So that's RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Nora. And I really fucking hate Blake siding with RWBY over Yang, because again, Blake tells Robin all this shit in season 7. Why? Because Ironwood's plan is fucking over the city of Mantle, and Robin wants to protect the city of Mantle. And I kind of agree that we're being really shitty with how we're squeezing Mantle of its resources. Maybe she'd be more amiable if we just told her. Fair. Also, you know, you're just telling her his secrets, and that's shitty of you. Remember here where Blake said, I don't want to be a bystander because I don't want to see people get hurt. And if I can do anything in my power to help people, I'm going to do so. I remember right here, again, when Yang has that realization of, as a huntsman, what we want is not as important as directly protecting the people. So realize how Yang learned from what she said and is like, I am protecting these people no matter what. And Blake, despite the fact that in season 7, she's like, these people are so important, I am going to betray this dude to help them. It's not like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do other shit. And granted, I'm not trying to say that the tower isn't important or a good plan. It didn't work. But I get the idea behind the tower and the tower plan. Blake feels like a character that would say, no, Yang is right. These people need us now. They don't have heat. They don't have food. They don't have shelter from these fucking Grimm. We need to be here helping them now. Blake would be leading the charge for that. The fact that she's not feels so out of character for me. I'm like, I hated you here and here. I hate you here too. Weiss gets to do some more shit with her family. There's this one Jurassic Park-like scene where there's a Grimm going after Whitley, and I think it's actually really cool. RWBY realizes that, so there's this Grimm that's chasing everybody and kidnaps Oscar at one point that starts evolving and talking and shit, and it's awesome. And when RWBY kills it, she sees that there's a silver-eyed person inside of it. And RWBY is now grappling with multiple things at once. One, oh, I just killed a man. Like, I dead-ass killed a human being and didn't know it, and that's fucked. Number 2, that Salem said that she wants me and that she wants me alive, and that's why she's gonna turn me into a demon? And that's terrifying. And 3, that's probably what happened to Mom. Oh, I forgot about that scene in season 7, where Salem is directly talking to them, and RWBY talks mad shit, and Salem's like, hey, I know who you are. I met your mom. She said those exact same words to me. And that's all RWBY has to hear to go, oh, she killed, like, this is the person who killed my mom. And she, like, breaks. And I think it's actually a fantastic scene. And RWBY going, that's what happened to Mom, isn't it? Mom probably wasn't killed. She was turned into a Grimm. And maybe she's out there and I'll have to fight her. Maybe she's dead. Maybe I've killed her. And I feel like it's maybe a little more, it's more subtle than that, but I can really tell this is what she's going through and thinking, and it's super fucking interesting. She's also dealing with the fact that my sister just told me to my face that my plan fucked everything up, and she's not wrong. And I'm dealing with that. It's like, RWBY's juggling with a lot this season, and I think it's really good. And it leads to really good shit. Again, Weiss and her family, I think, is good and interesting. Blake fucking sucks in this season. And Yang, I think, is doing good shit. As for Team Orange, Ren is essentially calling everybody out for how shitty they've been the last couple seasons, and is presented as being an absolute asshole for doing it. I'm like, no, he's right. I've agreed with basically everything he said. There might have been one or two things, I don't remember exactly. They're like, no, he's right. And they're like, hey, I mean, we got the relic, we did fine. And he doesn't call out the fact that Raven did it, because he wouldn't know that. I called that out. He's like, yeah, and what did we do? We immediately lost it. Because, what do you know, after they proved they couldn't be trusted, Ironwood said, I can't trust you with this other relic. No shit. Nora in this season is essentially just trying to say, I want to find out who I am outside of my relationship with Ren, and I don't mind that. I'm actually looking forward to seeing where that goes. I didn't really get to do a whole lot with it here. The J-Man is, I don't really remember what the fuck Jean was doing. Which I feel like I said here in season 7 too. He's just, I mean, he's with Ren and Yang. He's just part of that storyline. Oscar actually has some good shit of him, like, working with Hazel and turning Hazel against Salem. His cane being a fucking bomb. That was cool. I think he was also the one that turned Mercury. Like, not Mercury, I mean Emerald. She was getting kind of gradually turned. I think Oscar helped finish that off. And that was pretty cool. I'll give him that. The villains. Cinder. Oh yeah, we finally get Cinder's backstory. It's like, yeah, she's Cinderella. No bullshit. She was an orphan, adopted by a shitty stepmother with 2 shitty stepsisters who treated her like shit, and then she killed them. And it's kind of almost the exact backstory Cinder had in my head, so I'm glad I was on target with it. I don't think it makes her sympathetic. I don't know if they're trying to make her sympathetic. I think partially, I hope they don't try to redeem her. A, she's way more fun as just this awful, spiteful piece of shit. And 2, she's such an awful, spiteful piece of shit that I don't think she can. Let's see. Watts fucking dies. Tyrion doesn't really do much from what I remember. I'm actually trying to remember Tyrion in this season. Like, nothing's coming to mind. Neo gets to do some shit. She more or less gets her revenge on RWBY, but then Cinder ends up kicking her to the Ever After anyways. The crew, they have a plan to save Atlas, or at least to save the people, but fuck the city, which honestly fair if you're able to save the people, and it kind of works, and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I mean, this isn't really supposed to be a whole review of the season. I've done that, and I think I went more in depth. It's just, what do I think of it? The things I like and the things I dislike. I feel like I like the main cast more here than I do here, with the exception of Blake. RWBY is dealing with the consequences of what she did here. Yang is dealing with the fact that I let it happen, and I don't think I should have. And Weiss has interesting family shit to do. The Orange crew is fine. Oscar gets to do some kind of cool shit. Ren and Nora have an interesting shit kind of going on. I really don't remember what Jean did. I don't really care about Emerald. I'm going to be honest. I don't think she's awful. I'm just not that invested. Neo I'm always invested in because I think she's neat. And again, with Penny and Winter being the best things in the season. Winter is dealing with her conflicting feelings on all of this. I am here to help Atlas. And I'm helping the General because I think he's the best thing for Atlas, and I'm starting to not believe that anymore. I am supposed to take Yang, Jean, and Ren into custody, and I'm supposed to use this bomb to blow up this Grim Whale. Makes sense in context. They have told me their friend is in the whale. If I blow it up, I can get rid of that thing, potentially kill a lot of main villains, and delay what's happening. But someone is going to die. I'm going to be honest, I think that's a risk that I'm willing to take. Or it's like, I'm willing to take that blood on my hands. It is their friend, though. So I'll tell you what. I will give you, again, I don't remember if she says an hour or what the time limit is. Like, I'll give you an hour. If you go in, like, I will give you an hour. I'm blowing this thing up in an hour, regardless if you're out of it or not. But I will give you that leeway. Godspeed. I hope you make it out. And they do, and, like, they end up blowing it up, and then Ironwood's like, oh shit, we still have the bomb? Cool, I'll use it to blow up Mantle if Penny doesn't help me. I'm like, oh, you've completely gone off the deep end. Because there's a point where Ironwood is written as reasonable, although, again, Tin Man has no heart. But the morality is still interesting, and then it's like, oh no, Penny, if you don't do this, I'm just gonna blow up the other half of the city. Like, oh, fuck you too, buddy. Penny, being the protector of Mantle, is like, I just need to help these people the best I can. And then she gets hacked with a virus, and like, the virus makes me want to go to the vault and get the relic and then kill myself after. And like, literally, like, self-terminate, so then the power will go to Winter. And her trying her best to fight it, and also not sure if she should. And it's really fucking interesting and really sad. And again, her relationship with Winter, the few times they get to interact in this season, is really good. I talked about how much I fucking hated Crow. I think that's kind of about it. And then at the end of this, you know, again, without getting into the end, there's the plan of the doors to Vacuo, which pretty much evacuates everyone in the city. But then Cinder's an absolute menace to society. And the dude and the staff told him, make sure you don't fall. And some people fall, and we never see him again. But the main characters fall, and they get to go to Wonderland in Season 9. Excuse me. This is the closest we really get to a proper fight between Ruby and Cinder. But it's mostly Ruby trying to fight Neo and Cinder trying to fight Penny, so not really. There's an earlier fight in the season between Penny and Cinder, when, like, Penny's trying to get the tower in position so Ruby can give a speech to the rest of the world. And that's actually, I think, a really fun and cool fight. This one, I think, is okay. It's kind of like the end of Season 5, where I think it's too much of a mess for me to super get into it. But, of course, the part that's super memorable to me, aside from people falling, because, like, I knew they were in Season 9, so it's fine, like, it's not the end of the show, is Penny dying. It's Penny getting grievously injured after becoming a real girl and asking Jean, can you do this for me? No, I Penny, I know you're not hurt. I know you're hurt. I know you're not okay. I can heal you. There's no time. Okay. No offense, but I doubt you'd be able to heal me enough because this wound is that bad. And even if you did, she's still here and she's not going to give you the time to do it. What you have time for, Jean, while she's distracted, which won't last for very long, is to kill me while I have a clear head and a clear mind and I can think of who to give the power to. Please. And he does. Jean murders somebody. And you get a scene of Penny and Winter talking for the last time. And Penny telling Winter, like, how good of a person she is, how much she believes in her, and that, hey, I will always be here with you and for you. And I fucking cried when I saw that scene. And I knew it was coming because I knew Penny died and I knew Winter got the power. But that, it didn't tear my heart out any less. It's like, you really went from being an okay whatever character to possibly my favorite character in the show. You deserve so much better, Penny. And then Winter goes off and starts kicking Cinder's ass, and boy, it's satisfying. And then Cinder's like, alright, I'm gonna send your sister to the Shadow. I think she sends Weiss to the Shadow Realm first, and that's what pisses Winter off. And then, you know, a bunch of people go to Vacuo, and some shit happens with the bomb and Crow and the Aesops, and I'm gonna be honest, I really don't care that much. Where do I put Season 8? Where do I put Season 8? It's not here. Can I feel like can I make an argument for this being my favorite season? I really don't. I think the climax, like Season 5, is way too messy. But I don't feel like the build-up is that strong and the character moments are as strong, although there are some good ones. Is it an A-tier season? I'm thinking about it. Okay, so I fucking love all the shit with Penny and Winter. I think that's A material. I actually really like what they do with RWBY and Yang in this season. I would say Weiss as well. I really don't like Blake. I think Juniper is alright. I think overall, to me, Juniper stuff is B tier. RWBY stuff is here. B stuff is here. And then you get Penny and Winter. I'll put it in A. I'll leave it in A for now. I think that's alright. So I'm going to stop it here after doing 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then I have these 4 left, and we can get this shit finished. I'll see you in a bit.